Hello, this is Treya from the channel Trachomatic. I'm doing a tips and tricks video on Harbor and basically a more controller playstyle with him, as I know some like to play very aggressive and play basically what some would call the boing boing strategy. However, Harbor is one of the few controllers in this game that is very hard to use in the matter of full potential. He can be a little complicated because of that. However, there's some really easy standard things that you could do with him that a lot of people don't consider. His wall, obviously, like I said, his three abilities are his wall, the one that he can throw forward and stop at any time that he wants. There's obviously his shield bubble, which he can throw wherever he wants, and it blocks bullets from going in. And then there's obviously his main ability that he can just, throw out however he wants. He then obviously has his ultimate, which allows him to create an area that basically stuns whoever is in it, whoever is standing still can get stunned by it, which can cause free easy picks. However, this video is going to mostly focus on positioning and site play with Harbor. So obviously most sites are not obviously this open. However, there is one thing to consider when it comes to Harbor. It's about setting up your walls and your line of sight on your walls. If you look at it like that, I said we have just sectioned off this part of the map to where I said obviously I said through the walls and all that, and it creates a basically where they have to push through that and slow down. However, the consideration, if you were to say set up back here and you're about to throw your wall out, if you're able to pull it around like that, I said you obviously have part of that sectioned off. His wall basically is about sectioning off the site to get a free easy plant. However, there is one thing to take into consideration with this wall. People can still travel through the wall, and it makes it really hard to sometimes basically section off the site. In a 5 versus 5 scenario, this wall can actually be very costly when you're pulling it around and all that. I said, if you were to section off this, to say you section off one person like that, I said what happens is that that person can come through there, and then if this wall was around here, it was able to wrap around this and say if there's a scaffolding up there to where they can peek. What'll happen is that they can flood inside the site. That's where his secondary walls come into place. You can place them in a way to where it basically also blocks off other parts of the site. However, his walls also do have a secondary use. You're able to section off one-on-ones with it if you place it properly. So if I were to do that right here, I can now section off a one-on-one engagement where I can finally go after my targets. His shield bubble is often actually best used in plant scenarios. However, you can also use this bubble in order to basically protect yourself from and position around other places. If you were to throw it like that, you now have a bubble that you can peek from too and section off one-on-one engagements. However, when this bubble drops, obviously you're left basically standing out in the middle of the open, possibly able to die. So you got to be careful about that. His bubble, I said, obviously has that shield around it, which makes it, I said, very valuable for such a thing. But I said the best, I said, obviously most people use it. They'll throw it at their feet, and then they'll go for a plant. If you're going to use this bubble and do that, and you're going to go for a plant, you want to section off your walls to where they said they basically cover the outside perimeter. And so what'll happen is that when you section that off, now you have more time to plant, and they can't do that. Or you can section it off like this. You throw this forward, use your shield bubble down at the ground, and you can plant. And now they either have to go through your wall or go around it to see where you placed your shield bubble to plant. There's also the matter of if you are to wall like this here, you can, I said, you can obviously cover off sight. And then you can also position your wall like that for more room. Throw your, I said, well, that's the wrong button. But throw your shield level down. And now you have free, easy plant. To note, a lot of people, what they're going to do is they're going to rush you as you do that, because obviously they don't want you to get the plant down. They said, and some people will just allow you to get the plant down and not to risk the bubble. That's the reason why shotgun play can actually be really effective with Harbor. You throw your bubble at the ground, you go for a fake plant, jump out, and you can get a kill. Jump out, and then go back in. It's a really simple thing you can do, and it basically allows you to have easy shotgun play while you're, I said playing the character. And number one thing too, if you are going to use your ultimate, you're going to first off want to section people off. So you have this sectioned off, and then you can use your ultimate, which covers, I said a certain the diameter that you throw it in. So they're all getting stunned. So you could easily peek out. And I said, it's basically a matter of how you want to use your walls. Look, if you were to look at it this way and decide to throw your wall out like that, there, I said that's another way of basically causing a two-peak position. It's something you want to look for. I said you can set up in a way where you can still look into sight and still look into this, because most people aren't going to want to travel through your walls in order to get through to you. A number one thing to also look as a Harbor player, you want to watch out for the fact that your bubble also does leave you very vulnerable. When you throw this down, it's very hard to hear anything outside of your bubble. And I said what'll happen is that when you're peeking out, you could possibly set yourself up to get killed. The number one thing about it is using your walls, sectioning off sight, and causing basically a divide between characters. It's not, I said it's not an easy character to play, and there's other controllers that are a lot easier. However, if you can learn how to use his walls properly, it makes it really easy to basically section off an area and allow your people to push into sight. Later on, whenever I start playing Harbor more, I'll start getting more clips also together to basically section off sites and show you how the best sites walls are. However, if you're going to section off, if Spike is to be planted here, you're going to want to section off here, here, and here with your wall. Then you can place your other walls right here and allow it to basically section off sight fully. The best thing about it is that when you get that plant down right here, for example, you immediately can back off a sight and not have to worry about getting re-picked off after the plant. That's when you can section off the place and make it basically impossible for them to push you. A lot of people, I said, are not going to play this character just due to the fact that he technically has no smoking ability, because his walls are his smoke, since he plays a lot like Viper. But if you can get the character down, he can be really effective. And one final thing to note, while it may seem dumb sometimes to do this, and I said you're also able to basically throw your thing down at the person and back off as well. It sometimes seems really dumb to do something like that. However, if you're in the middle of an engagement and you don't even throw it just right on top of them, if you just throw it forward, it makes it impossible for them to shoot through you at that. And you can't shoot through the inside, as you see. Obviously, the bullets don't go anywhere. Since you're able to do that, like that, it basically makes it to where this is a free shield wall for you, and you can place it however you want to place it. Just got to be careful of, obviously, people coming out of the bubble to peek you. And then, obviously, there's the noise indication of the break. When you hear that, that means you know you're good to re-peek and see if they've repositioned. However, if you're going to do that, you're going to obviously want to wall it off. Make it to where you're like, okay, now there's just a singular person to peek. That'll conclude my harbor tutorial. There's a lot of fancy things that you can do with him. However, this is just a beginner's tutorial on how to use him properly. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you want.